Welcome back, everybody. This is the GOAT Cast, and we have a quick little, just a little hypothetical scenario that could take place after this season. As we know, because he made an All NBA team, Jaylen Brown is he can get the Supermax. He is eligible for that, as well as Jason Tatum. So, what does Boston do? Do they max both guys out and kind of limit themselves of what they have? I'm sure players that want to play in Boston don't want to take huge pay cuts. So having two guys on the supermax, two guys that, while different in their own ways, are kind of similar wings. I'd say Jaylen Brown is probably the slightly better defender, you know, and Tatum. I would say actually Brown is probably the more efficient scorer for them, but Tatum is the guy that can erupt for 40, 50 points, whereas Jaylen Brown kind of stays in in a certain range, even though he can do the same thing. But you have to. But I feel like they're leaning more towards Tatum. So with that said, what do they do? If they don't win a championship this year, I think they're definitely going to, take some time to really look at this team, how it's constructed, and what they can add and what they can take away. Um, I think their roles are kind of redundant in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So Jaylen Brown has expressed some disgruntled, you know, he's been a little bit disgruntled with the Boston Celtics. So I don't think he'll mind if they decide to part ways with him. But what's the smartest move? What move will benefit both in a scenario like this? And I believe that, as you see in the picture, Colin Coward the other day came up with this trade scenario where he said, Brown is great, but I don't think he's the guy to push them over. And I think keeping Jason Tatum, having a pure scorer like him that can defend, and then adding some solid pieces that maybe fit a little better than him and Brown is what Boston really needs to go with. So he came up with a scenario where Jaylen Brown is traded to the Golden State Warriors for Jordan Poole and Andre Andrew Wiggins. And to me, that kind of makes sense. Kind of looks one sided for Boston because they're getting two solid players. But as we've seen in these playoffs, Jordan Poole can shoot you in, but can shoot you out. And I think he would be better utilized with Boston in a way where he can come off the bench and kind of the role he has now with the Warriors, but he can be put with guys that can defend because he's not a very good defender either. So Boston is very much a defensive minded team. So putting him in there with Marcus Smart and these other guys that can defend very well, I think would benefit what he can give to them. I think Malcolm Brogdon was also a part of this deal where he'll be shipped to Golden State, which I think he's a guy that you can fit almost anywhere, and he can, be efficient and be great. So Jaylen Brown, Malcolm Brogdon for Andrew Wiggins, and Jordan Poole. And, Wiggins, as we're seeing also in the playoffs, he's a great, third option. And if he went to Boston, he would probably be more of a second option now, with what they have, what Boston currently has, which means I think he'll be able to excel a little more than he can with the Warriors, where it's the Steph and Clay show. And Wiggins is kind of the icing on the cake. But on Celtics, he'll be pretty much the second option, and he'll be a solid, and he can defend and score. He's a two-way player, just like Jaylen Brown. So they're not really losing anything, but they're getting a more dynamic, a guy that's a little bit bigger, than Jaylen Brown, and he has championship pedigree, and he's it's a lateral move. Excuse me. So I definitely think that this scenario could play out, and maybe they will start. Now, if one of these teams win the championship, I think Boston may still part ways with Jaylen to try to, bolster the roster to, where they're not having to pay two supermaxes, and because they want to be able to bring in other players that complement Jason Tatum and their style of play. So they probably wouldn't be able to do too much of that if you got two guys signed for, I forgot, it was some crazy number that they could both get. So I think Boston's gonna have to pick or choose. I don't think they keep both guys, even unless they just roll over everybody. If they just destroy the Sixers these next couple of games and then waltz over the Heat or Knicks, and then just sweep whoever's in the finals, whether it be Denver or Lakers, Warriors, whoever, then they might say, you know what, we're gonna pay both these guys. But that scenario is very unlikely. So the likely scenario is they possibly win the championship, but it's tooth and nail, and they say, you know what, we're gonna try to put some more complimentary guys, and we're gonna test the market for Jaylen Brown, and we're gonna get the best package we can get to help further our team. On the contrary, the Warriors, I mean, they want to get younger. They want to have solid pieces that will complement Clay and Steph. I think having Jaylen Brown would actually free up Clay as he's getting older. He doesn't have to guard the better players. Brown can do that, so that frees him up to be a little more fresh, so that he can hit the big shots. He's not having to do so much on defense. He can kind of defer off of to another player, and Jaylen Brown can guard the toughest player on the other team, and definitely he'll add scoring. He can score just as efficient as Wiggins. He won't give you the rebounds, but he will gift you the points, and I think he'll get them in a more efficient. He'll get them as efficiently as Wiggins did, and he's not going to take the three as much. He does shoot the three, and he shoots the three okay, but he does drive the ball, and he will cut and do things like that. And with Draymond's contract year, I think Draymond, unless if they win a championship, maybe, but I think Draymond's out. So you bring in the Jaylen Brown and find another solid big, and that's they might can steal them two more championships for Steph and Clay. You never know. So, and the Celtics will definitely they would not lose anything adding in Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins. So I think this move would be great for both teams. It would kind of re-energize both teams. I think both teams would definitely excel next year with how the teams are shaping up right now. You never know. Milwaukee might make some moves, add some pieces, let some pieces go. Same thing with, Denver will probably stay pat. So, these upper echelon teams are probably going to be what they similar to what they are now. So if they throw in some wrinkles into their teams, Boston, Golden State, that could push them over these other teams that are more veteran oriented teams. So that's just my 2 cents. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments. Do you think Boston should make a move? Do you think they should pay both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum? Do you think the Warriors need to make a move? I've done some videos on the Warriors, and they're still alive. So, so do they try to keep this team intact for next year, depending on how far they get? If they are knocked out in 6 games, do they definitely make moves? If they win the championship, do they think about making any moves? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you guys soon.